I'm here at the Cannabis Company marijuana processing plant in Mount Orab, where workers are actually cleaning the buds to prepare them for packaging. It's the final step in what I learned is a very technologically advanced process. The facility opened in 2019, but expanded to 47 full-time workers last year after adult recreational weed sales became legal in Ohio.
After the plants are developed and mature and bloom.
We happened to visit Wednesday, which Ohio facility manager Katie Anderson says is one of the busiest of the week as it's harvest day. But certainly from seeing this and everything else, this isn't somebody's grow light in a basement.
Correct. This is a manufacturing site. It's treated as such. We do have security policies. We do have day-to-day goals.
We weren't allowed to show you live plants because of state regulations, but after being cloned from a mother plant, the young plants each get their own dirt sack and are constantly watered using a special mix workers make here, under light and temperatures that mimic the fall season to get as much budding out as possible. After about 12 weeks, they are then harvested and either dried in this room, or the buds are collected and freeze-dried within 45 minutes. Those are shipped to the company's processing plant in Columbus to make a cannabis THC paste that's infused in gummies and other products. Anderson says the process hasn't changed much since recreational use became legal. It's just about producing more product. The Cannabis Company also operates 5 dispensaries statewide, including one in Monroe. But about 60% of the processing plant's material is sold to other dispensaries statewide. District Retail Manager Carrie Stan declined to give the site's production numbers, saying only that it was a lot. She says the company has seen foot traffic at its Ohio dispensaries more than double since recreational sales started last summer, and Ohio is one of the hottest markets among the company's 10 states.
Ohio is the priority market right now. We've seen explosive growth in this market. I think there's still a ton of potential.
Security is tight at the plant, and it's kept spotless, with visitors and workers wearing protective clothing and covers for their heads and shoes. But Anderson says the crew here is close, with music almost always playing in the background.
The most fun thing about it is the people. We have some characters here, and we all get to work together and do something that is pretty foreign to a lot of people.
In Mount Orab, James Pilcher, Local 12 News.
Hey there, thanks so much for visiting the Local 12 YouTube channel. Click the links, hit subscribe to get notified anytime we post content to this channel.
Go from homemade recipe to household name. Do it yourself on Wix.
A jungle fit for the Amazon in the fields of Yellow Springs, Ohio. Cannabis plants growing tall, all types, strands, and variants to supply more than 250,000 Ohioans following doctor's orders.
As I was graduating, the medical program in Ohio was getting started, and I just really wanted to dive in and see what I could do to help provide medicine for patients in Ohio.
Cresco Labs has one of 37 medical marijuana control program cultivation licenses in Ohio. They can grow up to 25,000 square feet just as a starting point.
Little tiny sugary looking things right there are trichomes.
Rachel Fay, the director of cultivation at this facility, says from start to finish, they believe in near surgical cleanliness, even suiting me up to protect the process.
Everything inside of this room is a future mother plant. I think a lot of people have preconceived notions about it, but then they come into a place like this and it looks a lot like a farm, or, like you said, we look very medical right now. It's, it's very pharmaceutical what we're doing here. So.
Carefully grown.
This is our vegetative space. This is where we house our mother plants. The mother plants are the start of all of the genetics in our facility.
Carefully transferred. Each plant is given a precise amount of light for months, clipped at full bloom, sent to labs to extract the THC oils, and eventually into the kitchens.
It's not something that you're just getting off the street. It's something that's produced in a kitchen. There's formulation to it, and then it goes out for testing so you know exactly what is in it.
Michael Mount moved from the dairy industry into cannabis. Now he oversees the kitchen, from the mixing to pouring, all the way to packaging.
For regulation purposes, this is very important. Also, it indicates to the patients that this is an infused piece of candy.
While cultivation labs across Ohio are growing the green, these businesses and the state are making it. In the first 6 months of the medical marijuana program in 2019, sales topped $14.5 million. In the last 6 months alone, that number has exploded to nearly $228 million. That's nearly 16 times more. And the 3-year total, $837 million. And the innovations keep on coming.
We've heard our customers. We know they want chocolates. We know they want sweet tart tablets. And we know that they want different gummies that will hit on different formulation specifications that they're looking for.
Cresco Labs VP of Product Development, Stephanie Gurecki, a scientist herself, says there's a high level of care to not only make these taste good, but also to have the desired effect to ease whatever is ailing medicinal users.
This is a very highly scientific field, all the way from cultivation to extraction to edibles formulation.
What was once considered reefer madness is now a possible sea of hope.
I think the message is just that cannabis is really helping a lot of people in the state right now, and it's a really exciting thing to be a part of.
Let's look at more of these numbers. Ohio has nearly 261,000 people with medical marijuana prescriptions. Now, out of those, nearly 17,000 are veterans, and more than 1,000 people with access to medical marijuana have actually received a terminal diagnosis. And as far as who can write those prescriptions, 240 physicians in Ohio currently are allowed to recommend medical marijuana. 36 of those are in our area. Stephen Albritton, WLWT News.
Get 2 breakfast sandwiches for $6 at Tim Hortons. Made with freshly cracked eggs. Made to order.
6th. Well, some state House Republicans are trying to change the recreational weed laws Ohio voters passed back in 2023. And this, of course, won't make some smokers happy. Dan DeRose from the 19 Data journalism team here now with these proposed changes. This is far from happening. We got a long way to go to get to this.
Right, but this was kind of a surprise announcement late today. New legislation, Senate Bill 56 is the name of it, pitched by State Senator Republican Stephen Huffman. Hang on if you're a big proponent of recreational weed, that just hang on. It was just introduced, but you're probably not going to be happy. First of all, the home grow. Now, when Ohio's voted for it in November of 2023, the rule was you could have 12 plants at home. Well, Huffman believes that's too much. Nobody could smoke 12 plants in a year, so he wants to slash that down to 6 plants. Next up, state tax. Ohio voters said 10%. Nope, he's going to bump it up to 15%. Another big change here, that 10% was divided up into 5 different pots, a bunch of different areas. Nope, he wants all 15% to go straight to the state budget so that they can decide what to do with it. Taxes go into the state's general fund. Next up, probably not such a big deal here. It says that any weed in a vehicle, whether it's medical or recreational, has to be in the trunk. It is currently that it has to be sealed, has to have the label on it, can't be open. No, he thinks that too many people are abusing this. They're smoking in their car, so he wants all weed in the trunk. Nothing there about what you do if you don't have a trunk. Next up, oils and vapes, the THC concentrate, again, voted by Ohio voters, 90%. They want to kick that down to 70%. When it comes to the THC and actual weed that you smoke in the plant, they're leaving that alone at 35%. All just pitched, nowhere near changing. This is going to be a long process. We're in a lame duck session. We'll see if it ever even gets voted on. Brian?
All right, that'll be interesting to continue to follow. Now, this one person was hurt in a fire this morning. Cleveland fire crews battled the flame.
How's it going, everybody? First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys having me out to talk a little bit about white labeling. So my name is Jesus Burrola. I'm the CEO for a company called Possible. We're operate a 12-acre farm where we grow and co-package for a lot of the largest brands out in California. So I'm going to be talking about what the asset-light model looks like and why white label could be a great solution for a lot of you folks looking to start a brand. So just show of hands, is there a lot of people that are looking to start a cannabis brand in here? Yeah? Okay, awesome. So I think before talking about cannabis, it's talking about CPG in general. So what if cannabis is not that different than traditional CPG? And so what I mean with this is when you think about successful CPG companies, you think about all the big brands. And so let's just take Coca-Cola, for example. So a lot of people may or may not know this, but you think of Coca-Cola and you think, man, they probably run and cultivate a bunch of sugarcane fields, corn fields for the corn sugar that they put in the drinks, and everything else. And the reality is that when you actually look at how Coca-Cola runs the business, not only are they not producing the corn, they're not operating sugarcane fields, they're actually not bottling it themselves. They're actually not distributing it themselves. They have over 200 partners all across the world in 900 different bottling plants all throughout the world. Like, why are they doing that? They're Coca-Cola. They have billions and billions of dollars. Like, aren't they focused on just making sure that they can bring their production cost and squeeze every penny and plant sugar canes and keep all the margin in the farm and then keep all the margin in the drink? And like, and you think about it, it's like maybe Coca-Cola is wrong, man. Maybe they're just not maximizing what they're doing with their business. But then you see a bunch of different companies that are also traditional CPG, and that model is more common than what most people understand. So, just to talk about a couple of the logos on the screen, you have MGP. Anybody heard about that brand or what that is? That's probably like one of the most surprising names for me on that list. So, because you would say, well, cannabis is craft. Cannabis is special. Like, how you cultivate it matters. And people are going to look for a specific cultivator in cannabis with a specific strains. And a lot of that is true. So MGP is a company that manufactures over 100 craft liquor brands. So brands that anybody here is big on bourbon or whiskey? I like bourbon. So Whistle Pig, super craft bourbon bottle. Goes for like, up to $150 for like their nice stuff. Award winner, everything else. And so you'd say, hey man, this is a very successful craft bourbon brand. It's not made by them. It's made by MGP. And so are like 50 other brands that you would tell on the shelf. So Anheuser-Busch, same concept. Biggest producer of beer in the United States. You would think they're growing barley, they're growing oats, they're growing all the components going into beer. And the answer is that they operate zero cultivation on their own. They have partners that are growing all those things, and they're buying from farmers to put those things into the beer. Marlboro, same thing. So you could go on and off. Tyson Chicken sells more chickens than anybody else in the United States. They don't operate any chicken farms. You even see a logo there, Foxconn, and like, I didn't even know what that was. They're actually the people that manufacture your iPhones, right? So it's not Apple. Apple doesn't run manufacturing plants overseas. They have somebody that does that for them. So but why not? Why do they do that? It's Apple. They have millions of dollars. It's Tyson Chicken. They have millions of dollars. So why are they not taking complete control of their supply chain? Why are they not trying to bring those costs down as much as they can? And so what I would say is those companies really understand what their core value is. Apple is not a manufacturing company. Apple is a company that designs and creates great product, right? So they're focused in trying to make sure that they do what they do best. And so, Anheuser-Busch is probably not going to be the best farmer or the best agriculture. So why would they want to get into that business? It's hard to operate many businesses at the same time. So in cannabis, we've seen it, and we're actually starting to see the opposite now. It started with, in California, a huge influx of money, and everybody saying, we're going to be a vertically integrated company. We're going to start a cultivation. We're going to have our own brand. We're going to buy retail. We're going to do our own distribution in-house. We're going to have a sales team. all those things take a lot of money, and but getting good at any of those things is hard enough. So when you try to be good at 6 things at the same time, it's not one startup, it's 6 startups in what is a very difficult environment to operate in. So that's why you now see a lot of those vertical integrated companies in California, that raise hundreds of millions of dollars now starting to sell off assets. You saw that in Canada as well. It is, in my opinion, not the best way to go about it. It is not the way to be most capital efficient, especially in an industry where raising capital or having access to capital is so difficult to do, right? So if at the end of the day, what you are looking to do is have a cannabis brand, do you really want to start learning what agriculture is about? Do you really want to invest, millions and millions of dollars to have an indoor cultivation facility? Then you have to run every day, right? Which will take you away from going out and actually growing your brand on the street. So the second thing is that the economies of scale matter. So when you are trying to do multiple things at the same time, it's hard to dedicate the capital that any one of those require. So we've seen it. Growing a brand is expensive. The marketing outreach that needs to happen, the things that dispensaries will be asking for from folks to carry, the giveaways, the sampling, everything that has to happen, building a website, doing the next drop, it all is going to require capital. So, and doing things, if I have a 10,000 square foot farm, am I going to be the most efficient operator at that scale when you have people that are going to be growing in 200, 300? I mean, there's a cultivator in California that says they want to have 5.5 million square feet of cultivation. Think about that. So what is going to be a more efficient way to source that flower? Today in California, you can buy actually flower in the bulk market cheaper than what it costs those companies to grow it, right? And so by being able to do it at scale, it's easier to go deeper into one thing. I'm a cultivator and I'm developing a large project with a lot of square feet, but I supply 20 brands. And so all those brands capture the economies of scale that I'm able to bring because I can assure my sell-through at the end of the day through working with all those partners. You can build resiliency. So like I said, today the price in California has dropped tremendously. And if you're a cultivator and maybe one that did
marijuana businesses following the introduction of a new Senate bill. I'm Remy Murray to explain what this bill means and why some owners say they fear that it could hurt their business.
How can you just really go against what the people voted?
Sitting across from me is Arian Kirkpatrick, the CEO of Mavuno of Ohio, formerly known as Harvest of Ohio. The business first began as a medical cannabis company in central Ohio with more than 25,000 medicinal patients throughout the state. Then when Issue 2 passed to legalize recreational marijuana, Kirkpatrick says it gave her an opportunity to expand in South Euclid and Gordon Square. But now she says she fears what this could mean for her business and others if Senate Bill 56 is passed.
The things that concerns me a lot is the social equity. While I have been afforded the opportunity to get into this business, it really should be where I'm a pioneer opening the doors for others.
State Senator Stephen Huffman introduced Senate Bill 56 on Tuesday, followed by his first Senate General Government Committee hearing on Wednesday. Huffman says Senate Bill 56 would cap the number of dispensaries in the state at 350, reduce the number of plants that can be grown at home from 12 to 6, and reduce the maximum levels of THC allowed in adult use cannabis from 90% to 70%. Further changes would include increasing the tax on adult use marijuana from 10 to 15% and require adult use in homegrown marijuana and paraphernalia in vehicles to be kept in the trunk or behind the back row of seats.
In short, this bill is about government efficiency, consumer and child safety, and maintaining access to voter approval adult use marijuana.
But others like Anthony Ceresi, the regional purchaser of Bloom Medicinals, which will soon be Bloom Cannabis, feels this legislation is a slap in the face.
We're already struggling to get recreational patients in the door. Most of the people don't even know that it's live because we can't market correctly like other states.
Right now, Bloom Cannabis has 4 locations across the country, including one in Ohio. But he says it's more restrictive here compared to other states.
We want to make sure that it goes through the way that it was voted on, and it doesn't feel that they are letting us have an opinion.
For News 5, I'm Remy Murray reporting.
Franklin University makes it possible.
Be unstoppable with a master's degree from Franklin University. As the top choice for over 10,000 busy adults, Franklin's master's programs are proven to fit your life.
Ohio dispensaries may soon be allowed to sell pre-rolled marijuana. This after the Division of Cannabis Control released new proposals and changes to their rules. But there are also more rules and changes prohibiting certain marketing tactics. NBC4's Brett Mills spoke with the division and a local dispensary owner about the new proposals.
Dispensaries throughout the state have been waiting for the green light to sell pre-rolled joints, and with new rules coming from the DCC, that light might be on the horizon.
It's very exciting because it's the cheapest and easiest thing that we can offer a customer to be able to get whatever they need in the program at an affordable price.
The Ohio Division of Cannabis Control released new proposals for their rules package, including letting dispensaries sell pre-rolled joints, something customers and stores have been asking for. The proposal calls the joints a raw single-serving unit that is packed with dried plant material and wrapped in rolling paper. It also states that pre-rolls will not be allowed for medical patients. Another proposed change is tight restrictions on advertising, like no billboards, internet ads, or TV ads, which is a hurdle dispensaries have not been able to jump over.
People need to understand that the stigma behind marijuana is different now. You can use this freely and be able to be a fully functioning citizen, pay your taxes, go to work, and there's no stigma behind that. It's for your health and wellness.
In a statement to NBC4 regarding the decision to allow the sale of pre-rolls, the DCC said in part, quote, the division researched other states that allowed those items in order to determine best practices as it relates to package size, content limitations, and testing. And in another statement on the restrictions on advertising, the DCC said in part, quote, the division felt it's in the best interest of Ohioans to ensure that any advertisement or marketing campaign related to cannabis does not encourage or promote excessive use, intoxication, overconsumption, or use of cannabis in a manner not authorized by statute or rules and is not attractive to children. But dispensaries still hope that the rules will continue to be updated over time based on the impact the sales can have on the community.
After a full another year of adult use, they'll definitely see the benefits and rewards from the tax dollars. The state will be able to invest that back into schools, into roads, into education, into colleges, all kinds of nonprofit organizations.
And the DCC has not given a date on when these new proposed rules might take effect. Local for you, I'm Brett Mills, NBC4.
Many cannabis shoppers are still traveling out of state to save money. Online data from the Ohio Division of Cannabis Control shows 1 ounce supply of flower, traditional style marijuana is
smooth, sophisticated feel.
Marijuana businesses following the introduction of a new Senate bill. I'm Remy Murray to explain what this bill means and why some owners say they fear that it could hurt their business.
New tonight in a 21-9 vote, Ohio lawmakers passing Senate Bill 56, putting new limits on recreational marijuana. Supporters calling it smart regulation, while critics say it's a buzzkill for voters. Our Bryant McCrae joins us now with reaction from both sides. Bryant, good evening.
Well, yeah, good evening, Lena. Supporters of the bill say it's all in the effort to protect children. They say it's their way of fixing the shortcomings of the controversial ballot initiative, Issue 2. The revision coming as no surprise to marijuana distributors right here in Northeast Ohio.
There's nothing in this bill that helps the industry. But there's also nothing that destroys it either.
For Mike Getlin, Chief Public Affairs Officer for Nectar Markets, a cannabis dispensary company in Ohio, he says, while SB 56 looks to tighten up issue 2, the bill isn't necessarily addressing the right problems.
It does absolutely nothing to address the pandemic of intoxicating hemp that is available to minors with no testing and no taxation across the state of Ohio right now.
The bill's primary sponsor, Republican State Senator Steve Huffman, addressing the Ohio Senate Wednesday afternoon, saying this bill is a much-needed safety net to protect children.
Senate Bill 56 is a great bill because it's reasonable, appropriate. It cuts down on the illicit marijuana market, and it's truly about protection and safety of children.
So here is some of what the bill entails. It will ban public smoking of marijuana. It will also limit the number of plants a household can grow, cutting it in half from 12 to 6. It also prohibits tenants from growing any type of marijuana plant. However, the bill facing opposition on the Senate floor by Democratic Senator William DeMora.
Instead of trying to tweak the current rules that have been working, this bill and the rules everyone has been living under for months and months and months, we're now trying to take away the rights of people by making lots of things that are legal today illegal should this bill become law.
Now, as the bill moves to the House floor for consideration, marijuana enthusiasts are asking all sides of the issue to be weeded out.
The most tightly regulated industry in the state of Ohio, that's not where the risk is for kids getting high. The risk is the 10,000 smoke shops and convenience stores that are completely unregulated that they can walk into right now.
Now, it is important to note that the bill does not raise the tax on marijuana, but again, the bill still has to go before the House of Representatives for consideration, and from there it goes to the governor's desk for final approval. Lena?
All right, Bryant McCrae in the studio. Thank you.
Ohio dispensaries may soon be allowed to sell pre-rolled marijuana. This after the Division of Cannabis Control released new proposals and changes to their rules. But there are also more rules and changes prohibiting certain marketing tactics. NBC4's Brett Mills spoke with the division and a local dispensary owner about the new proposals.
Dispensaries throughout the state have been waiting for the green light to sell pre-rolled joints, and with new rules coming from the DCC, that light might be on the horizon.
It's very exciting because it's the cheapest and easiest thing that we can offer a customer to be able to get whatever they need in the program at an affordable price.
The Ohio Division of Cannabis Control released new proposals for their rules package, including letting dispensaries sell pre-rolled joints, something customers and stores have been asking for. The proposal calls the joints a raw single-serving unit that is packed with dried plant material and wrapped in rolling paper. It also states that pre-rolls will not be allowed for medical patients. Another proposed change is tight restrictions on advertising, like no billboards, internet ads, or TV ads, which is a hurdle dispensaries have not been able to jump over.
People need to understand that the stigma behind marijuana is different now. You can use this freely and be able to be a fully functioning citizen, pay your taxes, go to work, and there's no stigma behind that. It's for your health and wellness.
In a statement to NBC4 regarding the decision to allow the sale of pre-rolls, the DCC said in part, quote, the division researched other states that allowed those items in order to determine best practices as it relates to package size, content limitations, and testing. And in another statement on the restrictions on advertising, the DCC said in part, quote, the division felt it's in the best interest of Ohioans to ensure that any advertisement or marketing campaign related to cannabis does not encourage or promote excessive use, intoxication, overconsumption, or use of cannabis in a manner not authorized by statute or rules and is not attractive to children. But dispensaries still hope that the rules will continue to be updated over time based on the impact the sales can have on the community.
After a full another year of adult use, they'll definitely see the benefits and rewards from the tax dollars. The state will be able to invest that back into schools, into roads, into education, into colleges, all kinds of nonprofit organizations.
And the DCC has not given a date on when these new proposed rules might take effect. Local for you, I'm Brett Mills, NBC4.
Many cannabis shoppers are still traveling out of state to save money. Online data from the Ohio Division of Cannabis Control shows 1 ounce supply of flower, traditional style marijuana is
New tonight in a 21-9 vote, Ohio lawmakers passing Senate Bill 56, putting new limits on recreational marijuana. Supporters calling it smart regulation, while critics say it's a buzzkill for voters. Our Bryant McCrae joins us now with reaction from both sides. Bryant, good evening.
Well, yeah, good evening, Lena. Supporters of the bill say it's all in the effort to protect children. They say it's their way of fixing the shortcomings of the controversial ballot initiative, Issue 2. The revision coming as no surprise to marijuana distributors right here in Northeast Ohio.
There's nothing in this bill.
Well, it has been nearly 9 months since recreational marijuana sales began right here in Ohio. And since then, sales have boomed, whether for medical purposes or recreational use. Total cannabis sales soared more than $2.5 billion. Yes, billion with a B. That's according to the Ohio Division of Cannabis Control. Now, recreational marijuana sales accounted for $400 million, but now tariffs are on many shops' radar, and many of their vape products are made in China.
Do our best to not pass that on to the customer and stuff, but yeah, that'll probably be like the biggest thing for us is kind of those cartridge batteries, cartridge devices, vape batteries.
Starr says it's just too early to tell what will be impacted, but some customers say that they just aren't that concerned about raising prices.
Ohio dispensaries may soon be allowed to sell pre-rolled marijuana. This after the Division of Cannabis Control released new proposals and changes to their rules. But there are also more rules and changes prohibiting certain marketing tactics. NBC.
Well, it has been nearly 9 months since recreational marijuana sales began right here in Ohio. And since then, sales have boomed, whether for medical purposes or recreational use. Total cannabis sales soared more than $2.5 billion.
Ohio lawmakers are still trying to change the state's recreational marijuana laws a year and a half after voters approved them.
NBC4 State House reporter Natalie Fahmy tells us how there is another piece to all this. Natalie?
Jared, Jennifer, lawmakers have been working on regulating both recreational marijuana and another product called Delta 8. They've been working on legislation to do this for a while now, but now these bills may be taking steps forward this week.
As a cannabis industry as a whole, we're continuing to fight this stigma.
It's going to bring some minor things that it's going to improve the marijuana industry.
The Ohio cannabis industry and state Republicans don't see eye to eye on how to regulate recreational marijuana. Both Senate Bill 56 and House Bill 160 decrease legal THC extract levels from 90% to 70%. That would impact products like gummies or brownies.
When you do that, you have to have a filler. You have to have an additive in there. So instead of having 90% of a purity, now you've got a 70% of a purity.
Among the dozens of changes to recreational marijuana laws that have been proposed, Senator Steve Huffman tells me some issues take priority.
The public consumption, not smoking in a moving vehicle are really important things. In the advertising towards children.
The House and Senate have been at odds for the past year and a half over lesser details, like whether Ohioans should be able to grow up to 6 or 12 plants in one home. Huffman tells me he's willing to compromise.
If we get to 12, that's okay.
Meanwhile, President of Cannabis Safety First, Tim Johnson, tells me these bills miss the mark.
What they continually leave out is the criminal justice reform factor. We need to have housing rights. We need to have employment rights, child custody.
We can always look at things going further.
Bills to regulate Delta 8, which some call diet weed, are also moving forward. The product is available for anyone to buy with no age restriction and gives a similar high as marijuana. Last year, the bill stalled when the House and Senate couldn't decide whether to ban it completely or simply regulate those products. This year, it's a clearer priority.
I think hemp is probably more important than marijuana.
Two bills to regulate recreational marijuana have committee hearings on Wednesday, and the bill that would regulate Delta 8 products is being teed up for a Senate floor vote on Wednesday as well. That would still have to head to the House for consideration if it does pass this week. Either way, Senator Steve Huffman tells me he's confident he can get these measures through the State House by July 1st. Local for you at the State House, I'm Natalie Fahmy, NBC4.
At Buca di Beppo, every meal's a celebration.
Come try our family feast that feeds 4 for just $40. Each feast comes with fresh.
The Ohio Senate passed a bill aimed at restricting sales of intoxicating hemp products.
So lawmakers say it's a step to put rules in place for products currently not regulated.
Alejandra joins us live with details.
Trisha, Rob, that's right. So the state Senate unanimously passed a bill today that would still allow these hemp products to be sold, but only at a licensed marijuana dispensary. Now, lawmakers' concerns are that these products can be sold just about anywhere where kids can buy them, like gas stations, because they're unregulated. But critics say this new change could hurt small businesses.
Due to lack of regulation, the intoxicating hemp industry has been able to confuse Ohio consumers and law enforcement by marking themselves as dispensaries with recreational marijuana.
The Ohio Senate unanimously passed Senate Bill 86 Wednesday to crack down on Delta-8 THC and other intoxicating hemp products. It would require that these products be sold at dispensaries, which only cater to customers 21 and older.
Written as a regulatory bill, but because the THC limits are so strict, it's essentially a prohibition bill.
Jim Higdon, co-founder of Cornbread Hemp, says he supports regulation, but he believes these restrictions will devastate small businesses and limit consumer access to legal, federally approved products.
And dispensaries aren't going to carry non-intoxicating CBD products with a little THC. Real estate inside those dispensaries is really tight, and their customer is looking for full-strength marijuana.
Under current law, those products derived from hemp and protected under the federal farm bill can be sold just about anywhere in the state. The bill would also allow breweries, restaurants, and other licensed retailers to sell cannabis-infused drinks, but with no more than 0.42 milligrams of THC per ounce.
These businesses and cannabis-infused drinks are exploding across the country. Many people have invested in these growing industries. These liquid beverages should be sold at establishments that sell intoxicating liquor.
Consumers want easy, safe access to these products. It's important for the government and the regulatory side to make sure that no one under 21 is getting their hands on these products. But barring that, commerce should flow freely. There should be a free market here.
Well, the bill now heads to the Ohio House for further consideration, where Republicans have offered their own proposal for regulating hemp. We'll keep you updated. Live in Cincinnati with photojournalist Savannah Tyree, Allie Hennard, Fox 19 Now.
Ohio dispensaries may soon be allowed to sell pre-rolled marijuana. This after the Division of Cannabis Control released new proposals and changes to their rules. But there are also more rules and changes prohibiting certain marketing tactics. NBC4's Brett Mills spoke with the division and a local dispensary.
The Ohio Senate passed a bill aimed at restricting sales of intoxicating hemp products.
So lawmakers say it's a step to put rules in place for products currently not regulated.
Alejandra joins us live with details.
Trisha, Rob, that's right. So the state Senate unanimously passed a bill today that would.
Then I'm sure he's got something to say. My testimony today, that good old magical.
Make sure you share this with many people. Tell them to come on down. It's the library. It's a beautiful place. If you've never been to the Columbus Metropolitan Library, Columbus, Ohio, you are doing yourself a disservice. It's a beautiful place to come. It's very peaceful, and it is very, very nice. So again, thank you to the Columbus Metropolitan Library for allowing us to have the Columbus Cannabis Town Hall here. And again, thank you for Representative Muhammad, who is here with us as well, and his colleagues for coming. I appreciate that. Thank you again. And thank you for everyone else again who has come here. And so right now I'm going to introduce my panel. I'm going to start with my moderator, Emily from Bentley. Thank you for being here. And Emily is one of these folks who seems like she is everywhere when it's about the people and about trying to come together and trying to get these things worked out. So I see Emily at the State House. I see Emily at every event. And Bentley's is a processor I work with here in Columbus, Ohio. And they have a wonderful company here. If you are interested in learning more about processed cannabis products, I encourage you to contact Bentley's for a tour. It is open. They want people to learn. And that's part of the reason that we are having this cannabis town hall, is to hopefully help people find ways to learn more about legal cannabis in Ohio now that it is officially legal for adults over 21. and those with medical card 18 with an approved medical condition under the medical marijuana program. Okay, so next I have Ronnie Smith, and Ronnie Smith is a veteran, and he also is a home grower, and he also has his own business, and he is here to help us learn what some of the challenges are for veterans who are navigating the legal cannabis landscape here in Ohio. I also have my good friend Josh from Girls Cannabis, Appalachian Girls Cannabis. And Josh is a part of the hemp program. Josh and his crew are making hemp products legally. And they also have drinks now. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure I'll find out sooner or later if it's good or not. But him and his team and many others have been at the forefront of trying to figure out how we can unite the hemp and the cannabis industry together in Ohio. So we're all working together to serve Ohio voters for what they voted for. And that is a good, quality, legal cannabis program that is what the people want. And we don't want people to feel like this is some new way to criminalize it or change the stigma back to what it was. We're trying to move forward here. And that's why I call this name. Now, last, I have a good friend here, Tim Johnson. Tim Johnson is former law enforcement. He also is a veteran as well. And he also has a company called Cannabis Safety First. And Mr. Johnson has been in this way longer than me. He has been a fixture at the State House. Everybody knows Mr. Johnson. I'd like to thank him and his wife for coming here tonight. And I'm glad that we are all here because this is an all hands on deck thing. And we hope to have more town halls all over the state to continue to try to help people find answers and information, and also just to help lawmakers understand what voters' concerns are, because obviously there are some things that we need to do to improve our cannabis program and to strengthen it to make us more competitive with you know who. I should not say right now, but y'all already know who I'm talking about. And don't think because I'm wearing blue, that just happens to be my favorite color, okay? Don't do that. Now, another gentleman I have here with me is Gerald Moore. Gerald Moore is a well-established professional athlete, All-American athlete. He also has a nonprofit program. He also has his own channel called Ohio Cannabis Report. And he also is a father, and he is also a medical cannabis patient as well. And he brings to the table the athletes side of it. He also creates something called Athletes in Cannabis, which I think is a topic that could be its own town hall, right? But thank you again, Mr. Moore, for coming as well. So with this panel, I'm hoping that I'm giving you a diverse group of people that you can ask questions to. It won't just be me talking this time. I know people say, hey, he knows everything. I don't know everything, everybody. But I have tried my best to surround myself with people who are more knowledgeable in other aspects of the cannabis world, because we can all continue to learn and grow about this plant and how wonderful it is and how it unites us as a people, as a community. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let Emily talk, let you learn a little bit more about her, and then we'll go on down the line, and then I'll pass it over to my group, Mr. Moore. Thank you.
Hello, is this working? All right, awesome. Well, first of all, I want to thank Anthony, so we should all give him a round of applause. This is really important to put together. It's a lot of work. Thank you so much, Anthony, for bringing us all together and having a dialogue. I think especially to all of us up here and in this room, it's so important for us all to talk to each other, right? Humanize the industry, humanize the space, just open the opportunity for dialogue and education within each other. It's incredibly important that we all understand each other's different perspectives, and that way when we do go down to the State House, we understand what the problems are and what we need to address. So thank you all for being here as well. My name is Emily. I'm with Brown Leaves. As Anthony mentioned, we are a standalone processor located probably about 10-15 minutes from here. And we do love giving tours. We think it's an incredible opportunity to bring people through, see the facility, speak to our employees, see how diverse and, we have people from all walks of life. One of the things I love to talk about with this industry is the economic impact. It's a pathway of entry for many, many people. Our industry touches almost every single facet of the workforce, and it's something that we as an industry we're incredibly proud of as well. Hiring people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds. So, all right, and we'll pass. Well, go ahead. We can do some brief introductions down the line, and then I do have a few cards here with some questions on. And I think we all kind of talked earlier too. We would love this to be just kind of more interactive instead of us all up here just kind of talking at you. We'd love to have a dialogue and questions and that sort of thing.
Hello, can you hear me? Is it working?
Yeah, 3 minutes.
All right. My name's Ronnie Smith. I'm from Athens. Anthony, thanks for having me up here. I'm from Athens, so I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I went in the military out of high school. I was in a lot of trouble with the law. Went in the military. Still got in trouble in the military. Didn't get to go to the unit I was supposed to go to because I come home and got 9.5-minute police chase in Athens. So it was constantly alcohol for me. And then I got in the military, got what to do. We started snorting Percocets every day. So we snorted Percocets the whole time I was in the Army. Got out of the Army. I did an deployment in Baghdad, Iraq. Come home, got out, did the prescription pills, got with a chick, kind of helped her raise her kid, and just had no connection, right? I didn't have no kind of connection. Like, I don't know. I just had no connection with anybody except the pills. So went through that, started going to music festivals. We split up in like 2014. I got with Southeast Ohio Normal at the time. I was a Veteran Affairs rep, and I became the vice president, fought for legalization, went to shows, but I was always on drugs, so I wasn't all the way with it. I was telling Q the other day, like I got petitions signed and wouldn't even turn them in. Like I remember I had a stack of petitions I didn't turn in. I would like do half the work with everything. So went to prison, got involved in a really bad case. Anyhow, I went to prison, changed my life, got out, and in prison, wasn't much in there I could see about weed. Like 420, I watched the History Channel, I listened to Burner, I listened to Mendo Dope, but I was like putting together a plan, right? When I got out, I knew I grew a bunch of really good genetics and weed was on its way to getting legal. I thought it was too late, but I kind of hopped out the right time. Weed's legal. I got out, know some homies, round up some old genetics, then got some new stuff, built a company, teach class at the Cannabis Museum in Athens, Ohio. I post up a lot. I'm going to do it like a lot now. I'm getting a lot of stuff donated to me for these veterans, weed, RSO, oil, seeds. So I'm going to be posting up in Athens at her shop and different places with my tent and giving free stuff to veterans all over, man. So if anybody knows any veteran need help, I'll send them stuff in the mail, whatever. I'll just send them medicine to veterans. So that's what I'm doing, along with building my own company so I can continue giving to these veterans. So thanks for coming. Josh, sorry. This is Josh. Sorry, I didn't introduce you.
Wow. I don't know what to say after that. That's awesome. My man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm Josh. Just blessed to be here. Awesome conversation. I guess I'm more on that like outlaw side too, where I was part of the legacy market or the black market for a really long time. And then I had my daughter who's about to turn 6. So I've spent this time trying to legitimize my style, my lifestyle, my culture, and get it into a market that's actually regulated, that can support the type of culture and history that I've grown up with. I don't want to not tell that story. I feel like Ohio's cannabis has missed this representation hardcore. And once again, we've tried to delay the tier 3 growing due to what? Because, you know, I just want to get into the door. And I think the craft cannabis is the spot for us to like put a little mark and record history of what it was like, you know, people like Ronnie and people down in the Appalachian region and elsewhere that are just trying to record this, be acknowledged, and not be pushed out of the industry. So Appalachian Girls Cannabis, you know, we started really trying to produce non-adulterated hemp products And we've just been begging at the door, like, let us into cannabis any way that we can get into cannabis and legitimize ourselves. That's the way that we're going to scrap in and get in. I got a lot of issues with the way that the hemp program is right now, but I'm sure we'll get into that more later. I'm just happy and blessed to have this opportunity and to see so many of you guys show up today, right? What was it, 43 testimonies? I mean, I am like honored to be a part of this crew, to be a part of this culture as we figure things out and meet legislation where they are, right? We're hoping the culture and legislation can kind of merge into a nice, happy medium. Amen.
Let me give a shout out to Mama Mastermind real quick.
Mama!
Anthony, thank you for putting this on. Thanks everybody for coming today. We got a couple of owners here. Emily's bosses, but I think maybe she might be the boss sometimes. Anyways, thanks Bill and Peg for coming with Ben Elise and the support that you give to the community. Thanks everybody else again for that. It was at the State House. Just about everybody in here was at the State House today. And just to set things straight, these guys weren't running from me. So get that clear. I don't think you were. I don't know. But celebrate my 50th year in the cannabis consumption market this year. So that's how long I've been around. I enjoy what I'm doing. After I retired from law enforcement, I got into advocacy at the State House. And from there, it led to a medical program, a hemp program, and then policy advisor on the issue 2 that we have right now. That was the main purpose of House Bill 160, trying to clean all that up and make it workable for us. I think we may get into some of it later, but as far as what to do at the State House, I think that might be a topic for later, isn't it, Emily?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll discuss some of that. But again, just thanks everybody for the support that you give the community, for the patients, the consumers, and so forth. Representative Muhammad, we really do sincerely appreciate you being here today. That means a lot to us. Out of 132 legislators, you showed up, so we do appreciate that. Hopefully, 1 or 2 more of them may show up again. But he is one of the great guys that's down there. Yeah, with that, it's all yours, Danny.
All right, so we have 4 questions up here. The first one is, beyond the written law, what is stopping the legislature from allowing home growers to test and process, and in turn legally sell to appropriate consumers? Example, med card holders 21 and older. Who would like to answer that one? Tim, go ahead.
In short, absolutely nothing. You want to take your homegrown weed, the weed you purchase from a dispensary, the weed you don't purchase from a gas station or whatever, and take it, your homegrown, whatever. You can take your stuff wherever you want and get it tested if you want to do that. My suggestion is that you buy from a credible, tested, regulated, licensed dispensary, or that you buy from or purchase or gift from friends, your own homegrown, reliable source. You don't go buy your food at the grocery store. You don't go buy your whatever else it is that you might be consuming from just anybody off on the streets and so forth. So just be careful with where you purchase at, what you're consuming and so forth. Make sure whether it's been tested or not, just make sure that it's a safe, clean product for you.
That's a great point. I think what's incredibly crucial to highlight here is that all the products that are available in the current dispensaries are all triple tested, which means that from the biomass as a processor, from the biomass that we purchase, we get the test results from there. We know exactly what's in it, and then we process it through remediation and all of our extraction equipment. We get that oil that we've created, we send that to testing, and then we do final product testing, which is the gummies, distillate, for the vape carts and topicals and that sort of thing. And then end product is tested as well. And so any product that you do purchase inside the dispensary, there's a QR code that takes you to the certificate of analysis, which is the COA. And then additionally, there's complete traceability, so seed to sale tracking. So at any point, if there is an adverse effect or something happens from a product or, from a product that's purchased at a dispensary level to a consumer, there's traceability within, minutes. And so that's why we see these recalls that happen very timely, because we're able to see the whole life cycle of that product. And so that is a major delineation between what we see, quite frankly, in a lot of other states as well, is Ohio is very strict about their testing, which we actually take a lot of pride in as operators. So that was a great point. You two have anything you'd like to chime in?
I would like to chime in just a little bit and just express how we existed in agriculture and produce consumption now. Like in all across sustainable agriculture, something you really want to talk about is knowing your farmer, right? Knowing your farmer is one of the most important things for consuming any agricultural crop, right? You're keeping the money local, right? Sustainable agriculture isn't just the economics, it's also the social and environmental impacts. So we got to think about entwining all three of these things together when we have a conversation about not only who we want to support, but what type of process we want to take when it comes to our consumption of cannabis, right? I love the work going on in Ohio right now. I love to know the fact that if I don't know my farmer, then everything's been tested. But when you're looking to purchase or not purchase, be gifted from people under the home grow system, I think it's important that you know that person, right? That's how we existed in the black market for a very long time with now no medical incidences, no anything, because we knew who he was getting that supply from. It wasn't a gas station where it's a wild, wild west where you didn't know who it was linked to, right? And the same goes with supporting at the local farmers market. You go down to your farmers market, you meet the people that are producing your produce, and you take the whole equation into account, right? People want to really fantasize about what organic gardening means. Well, I would urge them to think more about what's the more sustainable approach, right? Because if you're buying organic lettuce shipped in from Silicon Valley in California, where they're depleted with water, and then now they're using all these resources just to put a little certified organic sticker on your package, I don't think that's nearly as environmental as knowing the farmer down the road might have used a little bit of 7 Dust, but you can shake his hand and you can know who he is and you can keep your money local and in that environment. So I encourage you, when you're buying at dispensaries, learn about the brands, right? Understand what that brand's bringing to the table. Sorry, I'm ranting now. I do this. All right. Anybody else? Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit about the way, like, I'm kind of, I guess I'm an outlaw for sure. So the way I do things is I go to a bunch of like hot events that are in Columbus, Cleveland, pop-ups where there's, security, guns, and there's boys in there flipping packs, and there's processors, they got rosin. So everything's out there at these events, but I know quality product, and there's a few processors up here like Dexter's Laboratory. He's in Columbus. I'm a guy named Red Hairs. They're really good processors on that side of things. So I'm just letting y'all know how I do things. I support my home grow and also support their products. So that's where I get my stuff at. So it's all about what you're looking for. It's all out there. If you want craft, if you want from dispensaries, anything you want's out there. Just try to get it from somebody you trust.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you got a question? What's up?
So that was actually my question. My perspective was more about what is more stopping Joe Schmo from growing in his basement versus barn legally his home grow, to then go to North Coast or Act Labs as a single person to get then a metric tag that is then been approved and tested, and processed through state licensed processor, or have their own self-certification who goes through similar credentials where they can safely process, and then in turn, as a single person or a very small entity, small group of people, sell that to consumers, to other consumers. And so to me, I just think there's a huge barrier of entry that you have to have a lot of money and a lot of backing to have this be accessible. And so my perspective is to just advocate for the small person to have that opportunity to make that livelihood, because it is happening out there regardless if we acknowledge it or not. So we might as well make sure it's safe and we're getting the economic impact, the social impact, so it's all, it's not in dark.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a great question. And I think that's something too that we're continually having the dialogue done at the State House. And a lot of that is encompassed under the Tier 3 licensing, which would be what you're referencing, just a pathway of entry for home growers like yourself that just want to enter into the legal market. So I think especially between Tim and I and a lot of the activists here, that's something that's been very top of mind for us to be able to have that entryway, to be able to have your